Please imagine that I've used a time zone appropriate greeting for wherever you are. Last night, I engaged with admitted pedophiles over the Twatter. In general, they were attempting to say that it's okay to be sexually attracted to children. Spoiler alert, it's not at all. If you believe that we were literally sculpted by the hand of God, then he didn't make us to be sexually attracted to children. If you believe that we evolved from single cell organisms all the way up to these very complex, amazing creatures with monkeys somewhere in between, then there is no evolutionary reason for an adult to attempt to mate with a sexually immature member of the species. At all. So you can't be genetically pedophiles. You just can't. By the way, I'll be addressing the pedophiles in this video. The other thing that you tried to tell me is that sexual attraction is not the same thing as wanting to fuck somebody. However, if you're sexually attracted to women, that means you want to fuck women. If you're sexually attracted to men, that means you want to fuck men. You can be a gay man who wants to fuck other men, and you can be a gay woman who wants to fuck other women, or you can be a heterosexual man and want to fuck women, or you could be a heterosexual woman and want to fuck men. That's all perfectly reasonable. I don't understand what the evolutionary benefit of having homosexuals would be in the species, but people assure me that it's possible for it to have evolved because homosexual people are by no means incapable of engaging with mating with the opposite sex. So the gene could have been passed down even though it's maladaptive. I'm not sure if that's true. So what sexual attraction is the desire to have sexual intercourse with the person or thing that you are sexually attracted to. If you are attracted to same species, opposite sex, good. You are a healthy, viable breeding candidate. If you are attracted to same species, same sex, you probably won't make a baby. If you are attracted to boots, it doesn't matter how many boots you put your genitals on, you won't make it half boot, half human. If you're attracted to goats, well, I'm sorry, Mo, you won't make a half goat. You just won't. But all of these sexual attractions, people want to fuck the things that they're sexually attracted to. This is a truism. You're basically just restating the same thing in different words. And so if you tell me that you don't want to fuck what you're sexually attracted to, what you're telling me is you don't want to do the thing you want to do. And while that can be true in a psychological sense, it cannot be true in a logical sense. You may not want to do the thing that you have a desire to do, but that does not remove the desire. You have to fight the desire. Which sounds very difficult to me. And this is why I think you're flirting with a line. And a line that is much, much more important than the line between legal and illegal. It's a line between life and death. A line between you get to keep on drawing breath and someone needs to end you before you hurt someone else. And since you're the naughty puppies who took a shit in my house, I need to rub your nose in the line so you know where it is. Now, what you probably do is you go online and you look at drawings of kids in sexual situations, and that really freaks me out, but okay, you haven't actually hurt anybody yet. And I'm not letting you anywhere near any kids that I have any dominion over at all. But you haven't actually done anything to anybody yet, so I guess I just have to deal with that. And you slap your meat or you flick your bean to it, and you really enjoy that physically. But eventually that's just not enough for you. I mean, it's the same with, normal humans. Eventually porn just isn't enough, and they go out and dating, and they have connections and fall in love and do the sex like they're supposed to. But for you, you can't do that. You just can't. And so what you do is the drawings, they're just not real enough for you eventually. And maybe you can move up to 3D rendering, or maybe you can't. But the next step is real child porn, and there's the line. You've crossed it. You have participated in the rape or molestation of a real child and caused real permanent damage to the child. It is as bad as leaving a giant gash across the... Worse than leaving a giant physical scar across the poor child's chest. Worse. Far worse. Because they do it to these kids over and over again, The kids who are in the images you're looking at, they're trapped. They're suffering. Every day. A lot of them get killed. And you're enabling that, so you need to die. And even still, you might not get caught. Even still, you might might be a sneaky enough piece of shit to fly under the radar until that's not real enough for you, and you go out in the real world and you find a vulnerable child, vulnerable to you. Maybe he has bad, inattentive parents, or maybe she's being abused, or maybe he's got no parents and he's in the foster system, or maybe she's your student and you're a teacher, or maybe you're his priest. And you hurt that kid deeply. And you enjoy it physically, because that's your attraction. And now you're even worse, because now there's one more kid in the world who's been hurt like that. Let me tell you something. The crazy vatos I worked with, in construction in the LA area when we were throwing 20-foot sticks of 5x5 square tubing, quarter-inch wall on our shoulders, walking them into food plants to build the fuckers. These are hard dudes. These dudes, they have tats up their faces. They got the teardrops and drive the beat up cars, and they have stories about when they were on the inside for manslaughter and shit like that. Hard dudes in construction, man. Lots of hard dudes, lots of good dudes too. But these hard dudes, second they're around and knee high, they just melt. They'll cradle an infant and they'll be the most gentle soul you've ever met. But you don't have that. These dudes have been in prison for putting other humans in the ground are better than you. Because they'll be gentle to a child and you won't. It's because they have something I have. They look at a strange kid and they see a kid from their own life. I see my niece. When my brother was stationed in Okinawa, I got to put her to bed. I'd come home from working with those hard dudes. I'd be sore and tired. But she said, right, let's play. Because she can't say Ryan and she can't say play. Well, she can now, but she couldn't back then when she was 3. Sure, I'd go wash the grease off of me first. Because I was covered in grease and it smelled bad. But then I'd come down to her little toy area and I'd play. I'd build the train tracks with her and I'd do puppet shows with her and do all kinds of things with her until the sun went down, and then I would pick her up and cradle her in my arms and sing hymns to her like Amazing Grace and How Great Thou Art until she fell asleep in my arms. Do you know what it takes to fall asleep in someone's arms? It takes total trust. And you want to take that total trust. A little girl who is so safe in my arms, she can fall asleep. And you want to stick your cock in that. No. You're not allowed, no. Because if I catch you, or if anybody who's even halfway like me catches you, that's death. Plain and simple, that's death. And this isn't a virtue signal. Oh no, there's nothing virtuous about it. I will unleash every evil impulse of the side of me that really wants to feel blood on my knuckles. And that's not virtuous. There won't be time for the cops to show up. And there won't be a trial. And listen up, pedos. I am not the only man in the world like this. The risk you run isn't the risk of getting arrested. The risk you run is getting killed. Brutally. And that's the end of the story.